Today's show is brought to you by Chamber Music Sedona, featuring the Sedona Bluegrass Festival.
And welcome back to the Morning Scramble. You know, whether it's Bernanke monetizing the debt or the troubles in Greece, gold has been making some news and is in the headlines. And we have with us Jerry Williams from American Precious Metals to give us all the answers. And you have some of the prettiest coins on the planet sitting in front of you there. So
gold is here to stay.
Welcome aboard, Jerry.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, it has dropped a bit. It's right where it ended in 11?
Right.
2011.
Right.
Yes.
1565 an ounce, having been as high as 1800 this year, back in February.
And we were talking before we went on the air. Of course, we're hoping that it does. We asked Jerry, did he think it was going back up? And you do?
I do. This correction that we've had, and we have these heart-stopping things every year. The last one we had of this magnitude was in 2008, with a 30% correction between the high and the low of the year. Between the high last year and now, we've had about 20%. So that gets people's attention, and it discourages a lot of people from buying. Your last guest, by the way, referred to Warren Buffett. I have a Buffett quote too. He says, "Don't buy gold; it's uncivilized." It's unproductive.
Really?
Yes, that's what he said.
But what about the Mexico and Russia the countries buying tons of gold? What do they know that Buffett doesn't want to tell us?
I think they have an awful lot of dollars on hand. That's good that you knew that. Mexico bought 32 tons of gold last month in April and 78 tons in March.
That tells me
something. That's an awful lot. The Philippines, these are third world countries, 12 tons last month.
Yeah.
So these third world countries have an awful lot of our dollars, and that's what they're doing with them. They're just getting rid of them, and they're going for gold because of the stability.
Because they assume that this is a cougarand. They assume that this is going to be real value, and the dollars won't.
Right.
So they're trading something that's probably not going to be worth much for something that's always had inherent value.
That's correct. Yeah. You look at the last 15 years, you can see that they.
Well, these spreads are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes, we have that. We're going to show the audience. You have a spread on the gold and you have a spread on the silver, which we're going to put on the screen. Right now we're looking at the gold spread. That was 2,273 going down to 2011, 1565, and again where it is right as we speak is right at the 15 again.
I think Mr. Buffett's quote is sour grapes, just to get that out of the way, because the gold has far outperformed his Berkshire Hathaway every year over those last 15 years. So he's not very happy about that, I'm sure.
Well, he invested a great deal in silver. He was the silver king.
At one time he had better than half the world's supply of silver. It was way back there in 2000. But.
You brought two $20. You're going to give us a comparison on something I'm just sensing here.
I love these comparisons.
There's a $20 gold piece from 1924, and there's a $20 bill from the same period.
Okay.
Those would buy the same thing in 1924.
So, okay.
Is that a St. Gaudens and then a Federal Reserve note?
Now, this is telling us what? Why?
Well, the $20 bill still is only $20. The $20 gold piece is now worth $1,800.
Okay.
And I've heard the rare one. That's just an average one.
And I've heard the comparison of in let's say 30, $20 suit of clothes, $20 gold piece, suit of clothes. Now you can buy lots of suits for the $20
you
gold
bet.
piece.
Probably a couple of suits. Maybe Men's Warehouse, you get 3 or 4 of them. I don't know about that. But it does it holds its value over time.
Okay, just another 20.
This is the current $20 bill, which doesn't have any backing behind it at all. As I said before, it said, I owe you nothing, whereas the old one said it was convertible to gold at the Treasury.
Is that what they call fiat money? It's just kind of printed.
Right.
I call it monopoly money.
It's the same value. I mean, it'll obviously spend $20 at a restaurant, but
a lot of colors on it now. It's kind of like funny money.
Yep.
Okay, your recommendation then. Obviously, we have to have currency to deal. We need a 20 to give somebody at the store. It's a little bit more difficult to give them a $20 gold piece because you're not going to get back from the store the difference of what that's worth.
They'd have to make a lot of change.
They'd have to make a lot of change, exactly, right, exactly. So what's the practicality of this? Should we have gold in smaller pieces, smaller, what should we do?
I doubt that we're going to have a situation where you can actually go into a store and barter with these gold pieces. If you did that now, nobody would know what to do with it. So
but you could do it. If you walked in with this is legal tender. It
is, but I doubt anyone would accept it because there's just not the knowledge out there.
Really?
Worldwide, no. And it's $50 legal tender, by the way, not $1,700, $1,600, which is what it's worth.
Right. The worth and legal tender, two different figures, obviously.
So you'd have to exchange that for whatever the current money is. Right now it's this money, but in the future it might be, and I think this is what will happen. All fiat money eventually fails. You'll wind up with a new currency. Maybe it'll be a worldwide currency, who knows? But without a gold backing, it won't be any more trusted than the current money.
And the euro's sinking, and
so the euro is under 125 this morning.
I heard that.
Yeah, there's a run on the banks. The Greeks pulled $1 billion out in one day.
That's going to send our gold up.
And Greece as a country is CCC rated. That's one step before you're done.
Right.
So, quick question or answer on confiscation. Government says, okay, 1933 all over again, we're going to take your coins.
Well, if you read up on the history of that, you couldn't expand the money supply in 1933 because we did have a gold standard. So the way to expand the money supply was to double the gold reserves. So that's what they did. They called it all in, and it was given up pretty much voluntarily at first, and after it was all collected, then they made it illegal to own, which kept the runs on the Treasury.
But isn't it true that I keep wanting to grab this thing. I mean, it just
you know
has so much weight to
Jerry,
it.
make sure you know how many coins you came in with.
I know.
Okay.
He's watching us. He's like the guy with the cups and the pea. He knows. But my understanding is that the semi-numismatic coins were not confiscated. So is that a hedge today in anticipation of a repeat of history?
If you feel that that's a possibility. I don't really think confiscation is an issue because, as we've seen, we have $16 trillion in debt now. Money is being created by the trillions without any regard to gold. Our gold is currently being held at the official price of $42.22. So they have no regard for gold at all. It's considered a barbaric relic by our government.
And Warren Buffett.
Right.
Yeah.
Unproductive.
I don't think that everything in the world is a conspiracy. Do I think some things are and have been? Yes. Not everything is. This reeks of a conspiracy.
Well, the market does get pushed around by powerful interests. You mentioned the Philippines, Mexico. Now, those are purchases that we know about, and they're always reported a month or two after they've happened. But in the market, you have large hedge funds, central banks, and money center banks. And they can all go in there and buy this thing and push it up and down. And we're out here at the end of the tail of the dog getting wagged, buying 1 and 2 ounces just to put away for savings. So we have to be aware that these big moves are caused by leveraged large interests. And they will probably continue to be.
Jerry, where can we find you? American Precious Metals.
Yes, in Phoenix, a toll-free number. You call for information on a website with lots of information on it, answers to all the questions.
Thank you so much.
Count your coins.
Yeah, make sure. We don't want you coming back and say, hey, Tony, grab that.
When we come back, Memorial Day adoptions, Yavapai Humane Society. Stay right there with us.